Writing Survey Questions by Donald Ferland, Graham Scott Holt, and Rachel Rebello. By the end of this training, you'll be able to recognize effective and ineffective survey questions and evaluate open-ended and closed-ended questions. We'll start with the guiding principles of survey questions, question sequencing, question writing guidelines, and different question types. There are a few guiding principles that you should keep in mind when thinking about writing survey questions. First and foremost, you should word your survey questions carefully. Questions should be clear because if what you're asking isn't clear to survey respondents, they will have a hard time providing accurate responses. Questions should be unbiased. You want to know what a survey respondent thinks based on their previous experiences and not how a question is worded. Questions should be brief. You want to keep the question as short as you can without losing the clarity of the message. Finally, you want to include instructions for each section and each type of questions so that survey respondents will know what to do. Question sequencing. Opening questions can be used to build rapport by avoiding personal questions. Can also be used to screen out unqualified respondents. Those personal questions can be used towards the end of a survey when the rapport has been built with the respondent. Group related questions together logically. Questions should be ordered from the general to the more specific. If the software you are using to conduct your survey supports skip logic, you can use this feature to avoid asking respondents questions that don't apply to them based upon their previous responses. Question writing guidelines. Here are some guidelines to keep in mind when writing survey questions. It will seem like a lot right now, but we'll go over an example of each one of these guidelines in the slides that follow. Use simple words. Present one question at a time. Provide complete and exclusive answer choices. Avoid negative questions. Avoid assumptions. Avoid leading questions. And avoid bias. In each of the following examples, I'll give you a brief description of the concept and then follow it by two examples, the first being what not to do, followed by a corrected version of what you could do. Use simple words that your audience will know, and you should avoid using acronyms or jargon. So, in the eventuality of a disaster of epic proportions, does your family have a set of predetermined procedures that can be promptly executed? Another way of saying this is, does your family have an emergency plan for what to do in the event of a large-scale disaster? Basically, you don't want to make things more complicated than they have to be for your respondents. Ask one question at a time. Have you purchased laundry detergent or paper towels in the past 3 months? In this question, it's not really clear from the response if your respondent has purchased paper towels, or if they purchased laundry detergent, or if they purchased both. You don't know, so a better way of saying this could be to split the questions out. Have you purchased laundry detergent in the past 3 months? And then ask the same thing about paper towels. This way you know exactly what they've purchased. Provide complete and exclusive answer choices. How many times have you purchased food at a restaurant in the last 30 days? And we have some options there, but it looks like there are a couple of problems with these selections. There's no 3. Go 1 to 2 times, 4 to 5 times, but 3 is not an option. And if we look a little closer, let's see, 4 to 5, 5 to 10. If you went 5 times, the choice is ambiguous. Those aren't exclusive. So you neither have complete nor exclusive answer choices here. You really have to anticipate all the possible choices and provide those for people. Avoid assumptions. How much time do you spend listening to the radio while driving your car each week? This question makes several assumptions, including if they have a car, if they drive a car, if they listen to the radio, if the radio in their car actually works, which I've had that problem before. So let's take a look. can break this down into questions that are more specific. So you can see if this question actually makes sense to ask this person. Does your family own a car? Do you listen to the radio while you're in a car? How many hours do you listen to the radio while you're in your car? So it doesn't assume that they drive, just that they're in a car based on their previous questions. So skip logic can be used here as well. Avoid negative questions. How often don't you recycle aluminum cans? Much more clear way of asking this is, how often do you throw away aluminum cans? This is a much more direct way of asking the same question. Avoid leading questions. Criminals were used to colonize Australia. Do you think Australia is a safe place to live? The information preceding this question kind of colors the mind of the respondent to think about criminals being associated with Australia. You'd like to avoid leading respondents in this way. Avoid bias. In selecting the answers available for a question, you could be introducing a bias towards a given response. In this example, we can see that only positive ratings are available. Regardless of how poor the restroom cleanliness was or how bad the snacks were, the worst option is great. You need to provide answers that will provide meaningful information and avoid bias towards a particular outcome. Question types. Open-ended and closed-ended are the types of questions we'll be using in survey design. Open-ended questions. Essay or fill-in-the-blank questions are open-ended question types. These allow for freedom of answer choices, but can be difficult and time-consuming to analyze. You can use open-ended questions when you're looking for a respondent's feelings towards a subject, or when providing all possible answers would be impossible. Open-ended question examples. Could be fill in the blank. Your current favorite candy bar is? Fill in the blank. How many full-size candy bars have you purchased for yourself in the last 3 months? And then a little space for a number. And in the space below, please describe the steps of your regular hand washing routine. This is an essay type response. Closed-ended questions. These include yes, no, multiple choice, ordering, and scale matrices. You must anticipate all possible answers with closed-ended questions, but these are easy to analyze and easy for respondents to complete. You can use these when simple responses will provide you adequate data for the question you are asking. Here are some closed-ended question examples. Do you eat candy bars? Circle yes or no. How many full-size candy bars have you purchased for yourself in the last week? Remember, you have to make sure that there's an option for everything, so none, 1 to 4, 5 to 10, more than 10. Okay, please rate the following foods in the order of your preference. So this is an ordering task, 1 to 3, with 3 being your least favorite and 1 is your most preferred food. So you can put the order in there. Matrix questions. Anytime that you have a list of questions where the form of the question and the answers available in the question don't change, just the subjects do, you can do a matrix. So here we have a couple questions about the cleanliness of a restroom and the choice of available snacks, and we have 6 choices, including a neutral option. You can also get rid of that neutral option so that you can force the respondent one way or another to being either on the poor side or the good side. And we also have not applicable here as well. But let's see, if we had a bunch of these, we can look at them in this way. And so this gives you a grid. It's very easy to just go ahead and check off for each of the questions. Off to the left, those are your topics, to choose an answer in the middle there. So, conclusion. In conclusion, you can write great survey questions. Just have to remember to be clear, brief, and unbiased. Reread your questions for understandability. Pay attention to the details, and above all, practice.